Opportunity to appear before you today. We look forward to working with you on this and future legislation. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my statement. My colleagues and I are prepared to respond to any questions you or other members of the committee may have.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. And now we want to go to questions, and I would like to recognize myself for 5 minutes to start this off. Mr. Burke, can you please explain to me why the VA is the only federal agency that reports citizens to NICS without finding them a danger to themselves or others?
Yes, sir. I can share that we're simply complying with federal law. It is VA's intent to comply with federal law and regulations and ensure that we're putting the safety at veterans first. Veteran safety is an extremely high priority for us, and we are simply complying with federal law.
Okay. Then I need to ask the whole panelists, or you if you want to answer, and I just need a yes or no. Do you believe that everyone that has a fiduciary is a danger to themselves or others?
I don't believe that everybody that has a fiduciary is a danger to others.
Then can you explain to me how the determination of incompetent for VA purposes is linked to being a danger to themselves or others?
So basically, the determination of a finding of incompetency, which leads to us reporting to NICS, is one that's based on clear and conclusive evidence that the veteran is unable to manage his or her funds. That definition is the same definition adopted by DOJ in their determinations. We don't have a compliance or an enforcement arm here. We simply have a reporting requirement.
I understand that.
We comply.
I understand that. You turn it over to the people that do have the enforcement arm. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, we're not disagreeing on the fact. What we're disagreeing on here is the fact that a constitutional right is not being secured for our veterans and can be taken away by a bureaucrat's ruling. That's a problem. Any other person in this nation, besides a veteran, can go and receive a fiduciary. They're having trouble with their finances at home. They can receive a fiduciary. That doesn't mean that they're a danger to themselves or others. If they are a danger to themselves or others, there are reporting bodies. It can be a family member. It can be law enforcement. It can be others. Your office could say, we believe that they are. We believe that this person is danger to themselves or others. Then it goes to a court of law. What we're doing and what we're doing with the process, you can say you've interpreted the way you want, but what we're doing with the process is we're punishing our veterans for simply seeking help. That's the problem here. This is not about guns. It is about the situation of not using due process. Due process does not involve a bureaucrat. A due process has you go before a judge. Let me give a quick story. I'm the owner of a newspaper. I have a right to freedom of speech. If the government comes in, shuts down my newspaper without any warning, do you agree that there's a violation of my First Amendment? Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So why are we applying the same situation through the agency for our veterans' Second Amendment rights? I don't understand this. When I first came to Congress, I heard, and I couldn't believe that this was what the interpretation of the VA was. I heard it from people in the coffee shops, heard it from people in the barber shops. My wife owned a beauty salon. I heard it there. People talk at the Legion. People talk at the VFW. And they talk about the fact that they wanted to seek help, but all of a sudden there is a loophole that allows them to lose their Second Amendment right. I know that the ranking member gave quite a testimony on how he feels about this, but the reality is I'm not arguing about guns here. I am arguing about the fact that veterans are losing their constitutional right without due process. And why it is that I receive arguments from the VA or anyone else on why it is that I'm arguing this point and think that I want to endanger the veterans. I don't, because there's still a process like any other person. I stand and fight against suicide like anybody else. I want no veteran to commit suicide. But I also don't want any veteran to lose the rights that they were willing to fight for, that they took and raised their hand to defend the Constitution, to have something that is right in that Constitution, have it taken away from them. With that,